The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy.
Welcome to Oaa Now. Here I'm Sammy Tamina, blogger of the Sammy High School Sports Blog, blogger of Inside the OA, and one of the hosts between Taminas on Orion Television. I'd like to welcome our friends watching us hearing us on the local voice on SoundCloud and also those on ONTV. We got Ian back here this week.
Crazy
week 8.
Do you think everything's rounding into form here as the playoffs
starting
loom?
to. I really think it's starting to. Of course,
we're talking about football.
Yeah, high school sports selection show is actually Sunday.
Wow.
On Fox Sports Detroit.
Wow.
So very interesting. How that's going to unfold. When you look at the week 8 recaps, of course, what games had you shocked this week? Of course, we had a couple games that were like big time games, especially one over in North Farmington.
Yes.
Between North Farmington and Farmington. And then you had others like other games as well that were attention getters. Of course, Adams beating Southfield A&T.
Yeah.
Lake Orion making a big statement. And then Troy scoring points.
Yes.
Troy scored points this week.
Sammy, I do believe we picked all of that to happen.
Yeah.
I think that's the first we've been on the same page, and it's actually
Troy scores a point.
We picked it. I predicted it.
Troy picked a point. Troy scored a point. And
not only a point.
Yeah, and there's
31,
and it's on Twitter. You know, it's on Twitter.
Did they?
The first touchdown.
Awesome.
They were celebrating like crazy.
Like I said,
they were celebrating like crazy.
But that's awesome because what do we talk about?
Troy's virtually been taking this to the
woodshed.
To the woodshed on so many occasions. You got a brand new table here.
I did. I do. Yes.
Basically,
makes it cleaner.
Yeah. But
for them to score points, awesome. Congratulations to them. The kids stuck it out. They battled through the adversity. Right?
Yeah.
And they took advantage. I said,
and now they have a chance to win their first game against Berkeley this upcoming weekend.
Hey, when it rains, it pours, right?
Yeah. I mean,
the mighty Mo.
The mighty
momentum.
The mighty momentum. Let's talk about our big game of the week. That was from week 8. That was North Farmington.
Yes.
A lot on the line in that one. The blue title, Farmington Cup.
It pretty much unfolded the way we thought it would. Don't you
it was
think?
a low scoring.
Yep, that's what we thought.
Physical.
Yep.
I mean, emotional game that North Farmington escaped with a 13-9 victory over Farmington to go to 8-0 on the year. Farmington falls to 7-1. North Farmington is 8-0 for the first time since 1984.
Wow.
If they beat Ypsilanti Lincoln this weekend, they will be undefeated for the first time since 1970.
Wow.
And
that's going to be tall order too, though.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at North Farmington, and how they done it was they had a block punt for a touchdown. I believe it was Andrew Dooley, who blocked it for a touchdown. And then John Brunette in the second play of the third quarter went 75 yards on a draw play. He went to the left side and scored from 75 yards. So
big plays.
Big plays.
Small. We talked about that game.
Mm-hmm.
The margin of error is going to be very slim.
Mm-hmm.
And, Farmington coming in with all the experience, a playoff team from a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it pretty much came out to be what we thought it would be. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be so much on the line for that community. People, we were talking off the air before we went on. How many personal fouls or unsportsmanlike?
10 unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, but a lot of those had to be the emotions of the former Harrison players, of course.
Well, it has to be. Because you have split squads, former teammates going against each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's crazy.
Especially when you read Nick McCabe's article on the rivalry between Harrison and North Farmington. Just the feelings, especially the Farmington players, how they felt about the North coaching staff betraying them or
betraying.
Yes, betraying them and felt like they were unwanted or something. That's how the players of Farmington felt. For North Farmington, of course, they felt bad that some of the players that went to Farmington didn't stay with them, to help rebound the North Farmington football program after winning 5 games in the last last 3 years.
Crazy.
I mean, like, that's
what
insane.
a turnaround.
What a turnaround for the Raiders. And you got to give credit to Coach John Hurston here.
Absolutely.
Coming over from Farmington Harrison, of course, he was the assistant to John Harrington. Of course, John Harrington is on that staff over there. Dave Dorn, the defensive coordinator. Billy Sloan, the strength conditioning coach. Big time credit has to go to that North Farmington coaching staff.
Yeah.
And when you look at North Farmington, the first game of the year they took on Waterford Kettering, 135-30. Then they coasted their way until this game with Farmington, and then they just bounced back and they just won a big one.
Hard-nosed fight, man.
The question now I have here is, will this help North Farmington? Knowing you're liking to get a home game, you're going to get multiple home games. I mean, like, but if you bring a team like Wall Lake Western into North Farmington,
different.
That's a different animal.
Different animal.
But
yes, you're right.
But if you're North Farmington, having that coaching staff there, going through the experience wars, the 13 state championships at Harrison under John Harrington, I mean, like, that has to say a lot with what that program has gone through.
Yeah, and the coaching staff's going to have them ready because this is old hat, especially for those who are calling the shots, right? And they're going to have the kids prepared. And some of the kids on on the roster have been through those already, right? We forget about that. There's
the Harrison kids have been through that.
Yes, multiple years,
but not
multiple
the North
times.
Farmington, not North Farmington kids that haven't been
there. That's correct, but you've got leaders there that can show them the way. Lead by example. This is how you prepare. This is how the mindset you go in, right? So I'm almost saying, what's the worry?
And the fact that these two teams could see each other again in the first round.
Yes.
Or in the playoffs. That could say a lot because these two teams are likely to be Division II. Basically, they could see each other again in the first round. What would you think if those two teams were to meet
put
in the
them together?
Round? Yes, they could. They could.
Would Farmington have to lose another one though? Don't you think to be getting in the first round?
I don't know if Farmington. Has another game on the schedule. Of course, we mentioned last week about them having an open slate.
That's
right.
That's
game.
right.
So, when you look at, and then North Farmington got to play Ypsilanti Lincoln. So when you look at, these two teams could meet each other again.
Could have the same record. Well, one loss going into trial.
And the game,
potential.
if those two teams were to play, it'll be at North Farmington. Because they got
a replay of what just took place.
It could happen. I'm serious. It could really much happen. But for North Farmington, they took the Farmington Cup back. They took home the They're going to take home the blue title. Now looking to finish a job this week against Ypsilanti Lincoln. Ypsilanti Lincoln comes in at 2-6. For Farmington,
Oh, that's it. Lincoln 2-6.
Yes. For Farmington, they got two weeks to get ready for the playoffs. So, I mean, like, see where they're at. I'll be curious to see where they respond, especially having that long way off. I think that's going to be an impact for them.
Do you like long delays?
No, I do not. I think that for Farmington, I think maybe playing week 9 games should help them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
you
it
get
does.
healthy. You can get healthy.
Yeah, you can get healthy, but still, if you have a rust factor, that could be a problem.
Because if you come off that game and the Farmington Cup game and you're on an edge playing, right? Can you lose that edge?
You could lose that edge. And right now,
it's 2 weeks.
It's going to be tough for Corey Throach to get that team. I think he's going to have that team ready to go, but
think they're looking for another game?
I think they will be. I know a team that did find another game was Clarkston.
Yes.
Clarkston, they found a game.
I don't know if people heard this, but what we have here? Been a while. Breaking news.
Clarkston has a 9th game. They play Detroit Cass Tech week 9. Friday night, 7 o'clock at Clarkston.
Made them come up here, huh?
Detroit Cass Tech sits at 4-4. Of course, they missed the Detroit Public School League playoffs. Now with Clarkston, they're 3-5. Ended up seeing their 16-year playoff streak come to an end at the hands of Lake Orion, 55-21.
In a big way.
It was a blowout. Was really shocked how
you picked
dominant
that too.
Really shocked how dominant Lake Orion was in that game.
You picked that blowout.
I did.
I thought it would be closer.
I mean, like, I just did not. I didn't trust Clarkson's defense.
Yeah.
I just did not, especially their linebackers in secondary.
Yeah.
And what didn't help things was Darius McKinney got hurt. He had to be carted off on a stretcher.
Oh, no.
And that didn't help things out for Clarkston. I thought Lake Orion did a pretty good job on Ethan Clark, shut him down.
Well, they not only did they tack 55 on him, but the
Mhm.
21 Clarkston scored, it wasn't that close.
No, really wasn't that close.
No.
And you look at Clarkson's points that they got. I mean, Justin Buckman's one of those plays that Clarkson scored. If Cade Mansell keeps his feet, he gets an interception.
Yeah.
And then the other play was just one of the players misreading their assignments, just going in the pile way too early. Instead, the wide receiver just bucked out, and then
And that was second half, correct?
That was in the first half.
First half, okay.
And then the second half, of course, that was basically Clarkson's top first string against Lake Orion second string.
Yeah.
So,
but the footage I saw of the first couple touchdowns, I think it was the first drive. It was the first drive, wasn't it? Just pushing them down the field and running the ball and just taking them to town. And I'm like, man, Sammy's right. This is crazy. I thought it'd be closer. Like you said, the Dragons haven't beat them in 9 years?
2010.
Long time. And they were hungry. You knew they were hungry. They wanted this. They knew they were good. They knew they can take them down. But still, you never know. It's a rivalry game. Things can happen. Obviously, it didn't. They just trucked them.
It got ugly.
Yeah.
It got really ugly there.
And I have to give a hand to the Dragon faithful. Those stands were full. The
That's
away
what
stands,
surprised me was
packed.
I thought the stands was shocking to me.
The Clarkson
the
fans.
The student sections. Clarkson had virtually 2 student sections.
Yeah.
They had 2 student sections. Lake Orion had 1 big student section.
Yep.
And they were all in the game.
Yep.
They were all in the game. That tells you something.
Yeah, it was. I'm not going to say that the Dragon faithful outnumbered the Clarkson faithful, but it didn't look good.
No.
For the home team.
No.
Sometimes when you're struggling, it's hard to get the fans out, though. But still, it's Lake Orion Clarkston.
Other games that really, really impressed me.
Yeah.
Groves beating Seon 35-14 behind a strong second half. That was tied at 14 at halftime. Difference in that game was Marcus Alexander and of course Rob Donaldson. Donaldson came back from an injury last week. They were the difference in that game. Groves has beaten Seaholm now 7 straight times.
Yep.
They could see each other again in the playoffs.
Thoughts on Groves? Looking strong.
They got a big one this week. Undefeated Brownstown Woodhaven. At Brownstown Woodhaven.
Ooh, how did they draw that one? Is that a home and home?
I do not know.
Wow.
But that is on the road for Groves. They got to go to Brownstown Woodhaven. That'd be a big one. We're going to preview that one. West Bloomfield had no problem with Oxford, 48-0.
Yeah, that's Oxford struggling.
West Bloomfield looking really good. Big one this week for them at Wayne State. They got Warren D. LaSalle.
Yeah.
Big one there.
So, interesting matchup. I mean, you got to give it to, Coach Bellamy?
Yep.
Scheduling tough opponents.
No, this was a Catholic League 4th place team that he was going to play.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And Warren D. LaSalle actually finished 4th in the Catholic League.
Oh, they did?
It's kind of funny because when you look at the Catholic League right now, when you look at the Catholic League Central, besides Orchard Lake St. Mary's,
nothing.
I'm not really impressed with all 3 other teams.
Really?
Warren D. LaSalle finished 4th in the Catholic League, and they're 5-3. Birmingham Brother Rice just got swamped by Lapeer.
Wow.
At Lapeer, 34-10.
Wow.
And then Novi Detroit Catholic Central lost to River Rouge 16-3 at River Rouge. So that tells me something that I don't think the Catholic League is as good as advertised.
That's
something.
That's stunning a little bit. Because, I mean, at least 2
Catholic League Central.
At least half of them are usually powerhouses.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, besides Orchard Lake St. Mary's, I mean, like, Novi Detroit Catholic Central, they're 4-4.
Yeah.
Birmingham Brother Rice is 5-3, and Warren D. LaSalle's 5-3.
Wow.
Other scores around the OAA, of course. Detroit Leadership Academy knocked off Pontiac 14-6. It was an interesting game there.
Scored some points. You picked it. I think. Did you pick a W for Pontiac?
Yeah. No, I did not.
No.
Ferndale, of course, knocked off Royal Oak 20-7. Big game for Ferndale looming. Of course, they sit 4-4.
Yeah.
Avondale coming back from 27-13 down to beat Berkeley 40-27. Oak Park beat Groves. Groves 40-6. Of course, Oak Park right now rolling on all cylinders. Got Oxford next.
Groves?
Oak Park beat Athens.
Oh, Athens. You said
Athens,
Grove.
sorry.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
What happened? They played two games.
And then Stony Creek knocked off Rochester 49-zip. And then, of course, we talked Bloomfield Hills and Troy. That was 63-31 favor Bloomfield Hills. And then, of course, you have the Red. We talked West Bloomfield Oxford.
Yeah.
But Adams 31-20 over Southfield A&T. Let's look at these two teams. Let's look at Adams first. They sit at 6-2 now. Big game looming for them this week with Stony Creek. Anthony Petrino was a huge difference maker. He had 3 touchdowns.
When isn't he? When isn't that guy?
Petrino had 3 touchdowns. He's their
guy.
Well, yeah, but you got Petrino there. You got Parker Picot there. Carter Ferris, the quarterback.
I know, but
everything starts with Petrino.
It starts and ends.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy has to be a walking bruise.
Yes, he is.
What they put him through.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable punishment that kid can take.
And now they're 6-2, back in the playoffs. I believe for a 4th straight year, I believe they are back in. But now let's look at Southfield A&T.
What happened?
4-4.
Limping.
They are in a whole world of trouble this week. Whole world of trouble. When you look at the game that they have coming up with River Rouge, and that's going to be a brutal game. If you are, if you had high expectations this year.
Yes.
This team had a ton of high expectations. This team this year was all in.
Yep.
And they have not been the same team since that Clarkson disaster, where they lost that game in overtime. I mean, you look at that A&T team, and the fact that team is struggling.
Yeah.
And if they lose to River Rouge on Friday night, it'll be a 3rd straight year they missed the playoffs. That has to put a ton of pressure on Tim Conley, because the Southfield faithful, and I know that faithful, and they expect you to be in the playoffs. They bring out a ton of D1 kids they have a ton of D1 college kids there.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at that team, there's a serious problem going on at Southfield right now.
It's stunning, really. You know, the way they started the season, that was we know Clarkston isn't what they have been.
They beat Clarkston early in the year.
Correct. As that was the first game, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, whoa, now we know it. All the chips kind of settled to where they are. We know what everybody is at this point. We knew at the midway point who was what. But you're right. Dropping that Clarkston, the second matchup between those two, huge.
They gave that
change.
one away. Now, their discipline cost them that Clarkson game. Because if they just do not touch the center, they win that game.
Yeah.
That tells me something where this team's mental mindset's at. I don't know where this team's mental mindset is at. I mean, do you have to change something? If this team does not win the River Rouge game, I don't know if I think about this, and I don't.
What are you saying?
I think they might need to change coaches.
Oh, Sammy.
I'm not being mean.
I know.
Conley's a good guy, but something's amiss over there.
What year
you have a ton of D1 kids on that team, and they have not gotten the job done. And it's in the league where you have to produce results. You can have all the academic greatness, but it's all about producing results. And Southfield A&T has not produced results. They have not. And you look at the teams that have produced results. You look at in the Red Division. You look at Lake Orion's produced results.
Mm-hmm.
West Bloomfield's produced results. Oxford has produced results.
Yes.
Adams has produced results. Clarkson's produced results. I mean, and this is a prove results league. The Red Division is. It always has been. And Southfield A&T, they have not produced results. And the record shows it.
Yep.
There's a reason why I said before the season started that Southfield A&T would be 2-7. Was I wrong? Yeah, I was wrong about that. I mean, they're better than what they were. But if you miss the playoffs for a 3rd straight year, Because if you beat River Rouge, you're in the playoffs. If you don't beat River Rouge, then it would not surprise me if Tim Connolly's not coaching next year. It really wouldn't surprise me. And that says a lot.
Yeah. And I think you're right. The tipping point was that second game against Clarkson.
Where I know a lot of people at Southwood said they got screwed. But when you look at the film, he clearly was penalized. I mean, it was clearly a 15-yard penalty, which led to the Clarkson scoring a 2-point conversion by Ethan Clark. I mean, and then the game with Adams, of course, the game with Adams, I mean,
you shouldn't put yourself in a position where it comes down to that.
It comes down to that game, yeah. Right? I mean, you shouldn't be able to do that. Now you sit at 4-4, needing to win that game, and I'm telling you, I think when you look at A&T, I mean, you have all the talent, all the D1 kids. You're doing well academically, but you're not producing results on the football field, and that's on the coaching staff. That's on the coaching staff. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you my honesty.
And I'm listening.
I mean, you look on all the other teams in the red division have produced results. And I've said this on many occasions. You look at teams in the white division. Oak Park's produced results. Groves has produced results. Stony Creek's on the way up. They're on the way up. I mean, there's some questions that linger. I mean, Seaholm's produced results. I mean, Athens, they're starting to produce results. Athens has been a better team. But Southfield Arts and Tech's a team that, I've been very disappointed with. You know what I mean? And it shows. It shows.
Quick question. Do they get it done?
No. Here's why. Yes, River Rouge beat Southfield A&T 45-0 last year at Rouge. River Rouge has got a quarterback in Miriam Herbrowski, who's a very good quarterback. Southfield's defense is a liability. And I think when you look at that team, I think Southfield will score in this game, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop River Rouge. If nobody Detroit Catholic Central can't beat River Rouge, I don't see Southfield A&T beating River Rouge. I'm sorry. So I think they're going to be
again. That's on the road too.
No,
right?
that's Southfield.
It's at
Southfield.
They got one thing
Southfield.
going for them.
It's at home.
All right.
You look at the other 4-4 teams. You got Seaholm and Avondale this week. Of course, Seaholm sits at 5-3. Avondale 4-4. That game's in Auburn Hills. I think that'll be a heck of a game between those two.
Well, they're playing for the playoff lives. That's for sure. Avondale.
Yes.
And I don't even know where to go with Avondale because
every
time we thought they're turning the corner, and they just stubbed their toe, man.
They did not play well in the first half against Berkeley. They were down 27-13, came back and won the 40-27. I mean,
that's a big answer.
That's huge for Avondale. They have 45 playoff points right now. There's a ton of questions with that team.
Yeah.
If they beat Seaholm, I think they got a chance to make it. I think they got a shot. Either low end D3 or maybe low D2, high end D3.
Okay.
And then the other 4-4 team is Ferndale. They got undefeated Birmingham Troy Country Day this week. So when you look at that
sledding there.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup, but Ferndale's played better the last 2 weeks. So when I look at Ferndale, I think they got a chance to make it 3 in a row against Detroit Country Day. And if they make it 3 in a row, I think they get in at 5-4. I think Ferndale will get in at 5-4 if they can knock off Birmingham Detroit Country Day. That says a lot. That says a lot when you look at that team.
Yeah, and that's yikes. 5-4 for them. I don't know. Can't you see them being passed over?
Who, Avondale?
No.
Oh, Ferndale.
Yeah, I can. Right?
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Can't you see them
too.
being passed over?
I can see them being passed over. Yes, I mean, the cutoff, I believe, from D2 to D3, I think is 11, maybe around 11:40. Byron Center could be a team worth discussing in D2.
It's always seems like a crapshoot if you're 5 and you have 5 wins.
Well, you're
how
in
do you-
dangerous territory if you're
absolutely.
5-4.
How do you get in?
Territory because now you're going to be praying.
You're
going to be praying.
There's got to be upset somewhere that's going to knock somebody off, or somebody else is in the 5 and 4 situation.
You think about looking at these teams: Macomb, Dakota, Canton. You know what? Heartland, Howell. You know what they all have in common? They're 4-4 each. They're 4-4, and that says a lot where they're at. That says a lot. Now, it's going to be interesting to see where those teams go. But I think at the end of the day, it's about producing results. And in Southfield's case, because Southfield is probably the case that is a perfect example of this. Now, I know the other teams don't go on the media and say we're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
This team has. Southfield has.
Yes, we've heard their social media activities very vibrant.
Yeah. And then look where it's got them. 4-4. You look at West Bloomfield, they don't talk. You look at Lake Orion, they don't talk.
I don't think the coaches would allow it.
No. I mean, and you look at the rankings in the OA. Clearly, your top 3 teams right now are West Bloomfield, Lake Orion, and Oak Park.
Yeah,
they are clearly your top teams. And I think those are your 3 teams that have great shots that have deep playoff runs. Are those 3 teams? So let's look at the games this week.
Yeah. So any tipping points? I mean,
any tipping point.
Some of the games, like we heard, Clarkson adds a 9th.
Yeah, Clarkson adds a 9th. Yep.
But nothing's on the line for them besides
spoiling Detroit Cast
season. Yeah, exactly.
So let's look at our first game. Let's look at Pontiac taking on Ann Arbor Father Gabriel Richard. Pontiac, of course, they lost 14-6 on Friday night at Wisner Stadium.
Competitive game?
Yeah, it was very competitive.
Score-wise, sounds competitive.
It was very competitive.
That's what you're asking for.
Pontiac sits at 0-8. Last season, it was not pretty for Pontiac, 48-6 to Ann Arbor Father Gabriel Richard. Now, the Fighting Irish is now 4-4 on the year. They need to win this game. The game's in Ann Arbor. Do you see Pontiac possibly beating him?
No.
Why?
Track record. I just don't see it.
Pontiac is right now. They are 5-65 since 2011.
Brutal. That's so tough.
It's tough.
Yeah, I don't think they get it done on the road.
It'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting. Now let's look at Royal Oak. Royal Oak lost 20-7 to Ferndale. They are 2-6 on the year. They're gonna take on Flint Kearsley, who's 6-2. Just lost 40-26 to Brandon last week. They're gonna be in a really bad mood.
Yeah, they're grumpy.
Flint Kearsley's got a very good quarterback, and that game's on grass. So Royal Oak's gonna be traveling up to Flint to take on Flint Kearsley.
And we talked about that last week. That's tough sled.
It is. Do you see Royal Oak going up to Flint getting the job done?
I don't think. The only thing I can think of is if Kearsley goes, yeah, we're going to rest the guys because we're already in the playoffs, but they want a 7th.
They want 7
because they want to play at home.
Yeah, they want to play at home.
Yeah, I don't think it happens.
You don't think it happens? I don't think so either. Berkeley, we talked about them. It's been a long year for them. They got Troy this week. Berkeley and Troy last season, that was Troy's last win, was beating Berkeley.
Really?
20-12 at Hurley Field.
20-12.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When I look at this game on paper, it favors Berkeley to me.
Yes.
Because Berkeley's got Hunter Keising at quarterback. They got Justin Anagagne on the lines. It's been a rough year for both teams.
It has, like I said, but this year I've never seen anything like it for Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that before.
They have not been the same team.
No.
And the fact that they had not scored a point until last week, where they scored 31 points against an equally not very good Bloomfield Hills defense.
Bloomfield Hills, man. What's their total points now? I mean,
they just put 63 up.
I mean, but they were, giving up. The Bloomfield Hills was giving up the most in the OAA.
Up a ton. Yeah, they were
coming
into
ton. The when Lake Orion went down there.
Yeah,
that was like 270 points at that point
in the
season.
They were giving up a ton of points.
A lot of
points.
They
still are.
Yes.
So when I look at this Berkeley-Troy game on paper, this one's a pick'em.
You think so?
It's at Troy High. It's at Don Colt Stadium.
I know, but oh man, when like you said, the pillow fight of the pillow fight game of the week, Troy and Bloomfield. It's like one team can't stop anybody in Bloomfield Hills, and the other one can't score. So who wins?
Yeah,
I don't see Troy repeating what they did against Bloomfield Hills.
Berkeley. They played Berkeley.
I know, but I don't see Troy repeating what they did.
No, I don't see that either. I think Berkeley's a little bit more better defensively.
Yes. Will they score a point? Maybe their confidence is up. Maybe they get a touchdown, like a legit touchdown.
I think you're going Berkeley, aren't you?
I am.
You are going the Bears.
But I'm thinking Troy might score. I mean, it's to that point where we're saying, will they score in this game with Troy? I mean, that's just the reality.
I'm going to go Berkeley. I think Berkeley will win that game.
I think so, too.
Sean Shields is trying to develop a program down there. Of course, they have really struggled since the regional final run they made a couple years ago. So when I look at that game, I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with Berkeley. I think they're going to beat Troy.
Me too. I do think Troy will score.
Yeah, I think Troy will score as well. I really do think
I don't think they'll tack 30, though. They want their 31 or whatever it
was. Let's look at Avondale Seaholm. We talked a little bit about this game. Seaholm 5-3, Avondale 4-4.
Playing for their playoff lives is Avondale.
Yep. If Avondale wins, they're gonna have to do some praying. Then they're gonna put Seaholm on the brink as well.
Yes.
So, do you see that happening?
I don't know. I know there's with Seaholm with their 5th win already. They're going to come in focused because they got to get that 6th.
They got to get that 6th.
They need that.
And we know what that Veer offense can do to you.
Yes. And we're seeing that Avondale from week to week. You just don't know what you're going to get.
We don't know what's going to happen with Avondale.
No, there's no consistency.
There's none.
I would say Avondale falls. You
think Avondale's 4-5?
Yes.
I'm going to go Seaholm in this one as well. I think Seaholm, they're on a mission. You know it's at Avondale.
They want number 6.
They want number 6. It's going to be it'll be a tough task for Avondale. It'll be really tough for them.
Yeah.
Let's look at Ferndale. Ferndale 4-4 against 8-0 Birmingham Detroit Country Day. Do you see Ferndale winning a 3rd straight game against Country Day?
On paper, I'd say no. But I've not seen Country Day. So, I mean, if you're 8-0, you're obviously doing something right. But it depends on, again, who are they playing? You know, that we've talked about this.
They're an independent.
I forgot about that.
They're an independent. So they don't.
So they can pick and choose who they play.
They can pick and choose who they play.
How can you be independent these days?
Pontiac Northern and Prep's independent.
Yeah. Okay, it doesn't change the question.
They got Troy Athens this week. We're going to talk about them in a minute.
That should be interesting.
We're going to talk about them in a minute.
Yeah, I would say.
Do you think if Ferndale wins this game, I think they're in a 5-4.
If they beat them, I think they're in 2. I think so as well.
They'll be in Division 2. Do you see that happen?
I don't. Gut tells me no.
My gut tells me yes.
Okay.
I think the Eagles and Eric Royal gets it done this week. I really do.
That would be a huge.
That'll be a monster upset.
Huge
and they have went into Country Day and won.
Yes.
They won 17-7 2 years ago. And I got to remember the score. I think it was 28-14 last year at Ferndale. 26-14
Well,
last
do you think you come in 8-0 all fat and happy and you're already in, you got your first your round home game all lined up?
But if you're Country Day, you've lost 2 games to these guys.
I know.
You've lost twice to these guys. You want revenge.
Oh, heck
Don't you
yeah.
want revenge for what happened?
Absolutely.
So,
but are they resting him?
That's
Could they be taking it easy?
And they'd be in Division 4 for playoffs, I believe.
Okay.
So that'll be really interesting to see where Country Day's at.
Yeah, I think Country Day takes care of it.
You think Country Day takes care of it?
I do.
Okay. Let's go now. Farmington, we know, that got an off week this week. Hope they find a week 9. North Farmington, Ypsilanti, Lincoln. We talked North Farmington.
I don't know. The Rail Splitters only had 2 wins.
Yeah, they're 2-6 right now.
All right, North Farmington it is.
You think North Farmington blow out? First time since 1970 go undefeated?
Why not?
Why not?
At the beginning of, well, I should say at the end of the 2019 school year, when this was all announced and people going, where are they heading, da-da-da, this was the story. This was we got to keep our eyes on this.
With John Hurston going over to North Farmington,
the coaching
taking over
staff,
that team.
splitting the kids, the whole thing down the middle. This was the story to watch. This was the intriguing part of the preseason discussion about what's happening in the football world in the OAA. And it's come to fruition. I mean, it's happened. They're going to do it.
They're going to pull off the undefeated since 1970.
They're going to go undefeated.
But then it concerns me, especially with both Farmington and North Farmington, both teams being in Division 2.
Yes.
You
can't dodge each other. I don't think you can dodge each other.
I don't think they're going to. They won't dodge each other. But let's say if there's a team like Wall Lake Western that comes in, or a team like Groves, Seaholm, or Oak Park that come into your district.
Yeah,
that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. That'll be a challenge for those two schools.
Yes, and you saying a little bit of a challenge?
No,
I think that's underestimating it. Yes, because it's a different scale. I mean,
Division 2 is a lot different than being in Division 3.
Yes,
or Division 4.
Correct.
So that's
especially Oak Park. You're knocking on the door. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, especially when you have to deal with a team like Oak Park or Groves in there. It's going to be a tough task.
I'm telling you, Groves, you got to watch out for Groves.
Yeah, they're going to be scary.
Absolutely.
Groves got a big one this week. We're going to talk that in a minute. We talked Troy Berkeley already. You got Rochester and Bloomfield Hills. 1-7 teams.
Pillow fight.
Ton of injuries. Both they have a lot in common than they do similarities.
Yes.
Both have a win. Both that was against Troy.
Yes.
Bloomfield Hills was last week 60-31. Rochester was 37-0.
Rochester takes it.
You think they did?
Yes.
I'm going to take the other side. I'm going Bloomfield Hills.
Really?
They have no answer for Alec Ward. They have no answer for Tanner Soslinski and Alec Ward. Alex Ward had 275 yards last week against Troy.
Yeah, but they put a minnow net out for defense.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah, he had 275 yards last week against Troy. He's going to go off for 300 yards against Rochester. You just watch. Give me Bloomfield Hills by 30.
Bloomfield Hills by 30?
Yep, Bloomfield Hills by 30.
I'm taking Falcons.
Okay.
Sammy.
Athens and Notre Dame Prep. Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. Notre Dame Prep 7-1.
Yeah.
I do apologize earlier on Oak Park and Athens' score. That was 41-6 in favor of Oak Park or Athens. I was 1 point off. You look at the Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
And I talked to their coaching staff a couple weeks ago. And they are rolling on all cylinders right now. I looked at that team. They are huge up front. Quarterback's very good. Billy Keenan's head coach of Troy At's going to have his hands full with Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. Now, yes, that game's at Athens. That's going to help Troy Athens. Troy Athens is in a better place than they were last year. They're 3-5 right now. If they can finish the year strong and go 4-5, that would be a 3-win turnaround.
Yeah.
And that will grow that program.
Absolutely.
It will grow the program.
Yes.
Do you see it happening against Notre Dame Prep?
I think Notre Dame's just too strong.
You think Notre Dame Prep's too strong?
I think so.
Notre Dame Prep has...
I don't think it'll be a blowout.
No.
I think it'll be close.
I think it will be close, too.
But I think Notre Dame Prep, they're on a mission. If they got them, if they're dialed in, they're ready to go.
Their only loss this year was to Noblesville Gurin Catholic in
Say
Indiana.
That again? What?
Noblesville Gurin Catholic. That's in Indiana.
All right.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame Prep in this game. I think that they played a tougher schedule.
Yeah.
No offense to Troy Athens.
Anytime you go undefeated, you're doing something
well, they're
right.
7-1.
I thought you said they're undefeated.
They're 7-1.
All right.
So that one's going to be really, really intriguing.
Yeah, I think it'll be close, but Notre Dame will take it.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's look at the we talked Seaholm and we talked Oak Park and Oak Park Oxford. Let's talk about that one. 7-1 versus 1-7.
The wheels on the bus up there, the Wildcats just fell off.
We talked about this team being a playoff team last year.
Yeah.
And the fact that this team is really fallen off.
And an impressive playoff team.
They were. They eliminated Davidson last year.
They looked great.
They eliminated Davidson last year.
Yeah.
They beat Lake Orion and Clarkston last year.
Like a drum.
And then now this team is really falling off.
Yeah,
I feel bad for Drew Carpenter. I really do. Because that kid has laid his tail off. And the rest of that senior class at Oxford.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel really bad.
That is a surprise of the year. I think, if we're saying the surprise, if I'd say Lake Orion could be a surprise,
people are gonna say
one
Lake
of the big
Orion
surprise.
Was a surprise. I expected them to be where they were. I didn't expect them to be 8-1. I mean, like 7-1.
Yeah, me either. But I would say on the positive, like for doing well, I'd say Lake Orion would be the surprise. On the flip side, it's Oxford. Like, wow. And it just continues to just snowball for them in the negative way, and they just can't. They can't get out of this mess. I know
they're a young team, but still, and the fact that you're playing these three teams, especially late in the year, with Southfield, West Bloomfield, and now Oak Park. It's difficult.
It's tough to get your murderer's row at the end of the season when you're limping along. I mean,
and now they got to deal with Oak Park, which is a really good team. Oak Park right now is rolling. I'm a little concerned with Oak Park because like I said, the lack of competition. I mean, like the competition they have has not been the same for them since that Stony Creek game. Where they.
Do you think this is a close match? Do you think?
I don't think this is a close game because I don't know how conservative Coach Bud Riley is going to do with Oxford. Because the pound the rock scheme, it's a very conservative offense they run.
Yes.
And it's really affected their defense as well.
Has.
You know what I mean? And it's when you can't have both balances, when you can't have balance, you're not going to win games. And right now that's shown it.
We said that. He said, hey, if you get down to West Bloomfield early and you got to throw to catch up, because you have to throw the ball.
You have to throw.
And, ball control is one thing, but if you have a lead, it's one thing. If you don't, it's a completely other animal.
And you look at the other side with Oak Park, quarterback Frank Blackett, Trayvon Prim, you got Malik Carr. I mean, on the other side, you got that big, huge line led by Raekwon Benny. I mean, like, it's going to be a tough task for Oxford. It's going to be a really tough task down there in Night Valley. So I got to give the edge to Oak Park in that one.
Yeah.
Let's look at Lake Orion Monroe. Lake Orion this year 7-1, taking on a 3-5 Monroe team. Lake Orion, of course, looked really good against Clarkston. Just literally smashed the Wolves on their home field. Ran through them
at will, almost.
Yeah, they ran through them at will. Taking on a Monroe team that has last week lost a tough one, 35. I believe it's 35-14 to Temperance Bedford. Now they sit at 3-5.
The power of Temperance Bedford.
Yeah, Temperance Bedford.
SEC.
Yes, SEC, Southeastern Conference. Monroe's had some tough losses, though. Of course, they lost to Saline, lost to Bedford, had a really bad loss to Ann Arbor Pioneer. So when I look at this game, of course, Monroe's got a very good quarterback of Wyatt Head. They got a good wide receiver as well. When I look at Lake Orion's side of things, their defense has been
it's been solid from day one.
You look at what Lake Orion has done this year. You look at what they've done.
Yeah.
I mean, beat Lapeer on the road.
First game of the season.
First game of the year. Then you destroy A&T. Beat Adams. Your only loss is in 4 overtimes in a questionable officiated game against West Bloomfield.
Yeah.
You beat Oxford, you beat Clarkston. I mean, like, when you look at Lake Orion, everything has seemed to go right, and yet this team still has a ton to prove.
Yeah.
I mean, considering where you look at where Lake Orion could head in the playoffs, they could head north to see Davidson or Lapeer, east possibly to see either Romeo or Utica Eisenhower, which is going to be a really brutal,
that would be a tough.
That would be scary if they go east.
Yeah.
Or they could go north and see Lapeer or Davidson, which I think could very well happen.
Okay.
So when I look at Lake Orion, you and I both agree they're going to beat Monroe this weekend.
I'm picking Lake Orion to take it, especially at home. Final game for them seniors.
But if you're Lake Orion, where would you see Lake Orion going, north or east?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any other. I mean, we're talking playoff points, but we haven't really shared with the listeners where all that lays.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you mentioned earlier, it's
and you look at all the other.
There's
teams.
A lot of numbers jumbling here, and the other teams win, loss, whatever. There's a lot.
And you look at all the other teams that are already in the playoffs, and you look at teams like both Farmington schools,
yes.
North Farmington. You look at
how does that all shuffle out? I mean, there's a lot to be determined.
There's a lot to be determined,
even with one game to go.
And you look at the white. You got Oak Park. Yeah. You got Oak Park Groves, Stony Creek's on the bubble, Seaham's on the bubble.
Yeah.
Ferndale, Avenel both on the bubble.
Yeah.
And then you also look at in the red. You got West Bloomfield, Lake Orion. Adams already in the playoffs. And
they're
then you
in,
have
but
A&T's
still, all that
team.
rippling of the playoff points are still going on.
Yeah.
And it's going to come all the way through to the final game of this season, right?
Yeah,
and
so
however that goes, I mean, I can't even say. You have a better feel of this.
I've been working on it. It's been really, really difficult, especially.
But what is the decision behind the scenes?
You got to look at enrollment. You got to look at enrollment. You got to look at playoff points. I mean, like
could they hammer Lake Orion? You know, let's say they beat Monroe, they're 7 or 8-1.
You know,
and you can go, hey, you get a home game, but guess what? You're going east. And you're getting Romeo in or whatever.
Romeo
right?
Sits at 6-2, and that's scary. They got Growth Point South this week. That is absolutely scary.
Yes.
If Lake Orion has to take on Romeo or Utica Eisenhower.
Those guys in the east are always a pain in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them, right? I mean, good programs. They win. And
I mean, if
you hit the playoffs.
If you're Oak Park, you got Warren De La Salle you got to have to deal with.
Yes.
Or if you're like West Bloomfield, you're likely going to if West Bloomfield's in a really interesting spot because for them, it's either if they could go north, they could go south. Last year they went south, took on Belleville. Should have beat Belleville last year. I mean, I think they're going to beat Belleville this year. So when I look at West Bloomfield's case, maybe it's best for them to go south instead of having to go north. Because if they go north, I think that's very tricky for them.
Yeah.
And then you look at Adams, of course, likely maybe seeing Stony Creek next week, but you're going to see Romeo, maybe Lake Orion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Adams is a team that is a scary team.
To see Adams again, wow.
If that were the case.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, of course.
Well, it was still talking about Lake Orion. I mean, we're kind of talking about them. And
we both agree they'll get by Monroe.
Yes. Yeah.
Think blowout?
It could be.
I think it will be.
It can be. Those guys are running downhill, man. I mean, they're on a mission. The thing with Lake Orion over the last, 3 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wasn't at the Clarkston game, so
the penalties,
the unforced errors are still there, and they got to watch out for that. But that defense plays fast; they hit hard.
Their offensive line has had an incredible year.
Absolutely,
their offensive. They had one returning starter back, and look what happened.
I know, but the defensive line too. The pressure, the holes they are filling, the pressure they're putting on people. But it's the unforced errors they've got to watch out for because there's going to be a team that's going to come in and play a clean sheet.
Yep.
And if they don't.
Yep. And that's the same thing with West Bloomfield, too. That's the same thing with West Bloomfield as well. They got a tough one this week with Warren De La Salle at Wayne State. I mean, West Bloomfield, they have got to keep their emotions and discipline in check as well. I mean, Lake Orion and West Bloomfield, people could say virtually mirror images of each other. They could be.
Yeah. Yeah. Who has the higher upside? Can we determine that?
No.
I mean, it's
Can't.
and who would have thought at the beginning of the season we'd be comparing those two teams?
Who would ever thought that?
Not me. Well, maybe you
Maybe.
got the magic 8 ball there telling
Maybe.
you all the what's going on, but
Probably the biggest game of the OA docket for Week 9 is Adams at Stony Creek.
yes.
This is
Absolutely.
huge. This one is huge. Stony Creek 5-3, Adams 6-2.
Yeah.
Battle for the city title on the line. You look at this game on paper, and it says to yourself, Adams has everything. They got experience.
Correct.
They got a very good player in Anthony Petrino.
Yes.
But when you look at Stony Creek, second year under Coach Nick Merlo, last year's game, Stony Creek, even though that was a 14-3 game last year, Stony Creek ended up losing that one. But when you look at this group of Cougars,
Different batch, man.
I think this is a different batch.
Completely.
They got a very good quarterback in Ryan Eckhout, who's done a really good job replacing Frank Potesma at quarterback. You got Cameron Buford, very good running back. You got Zach Denna. You got a big offensive line, big defensive line led by, of course, Austin Jordan. Going up against Adams, led by the Robertson twins. I mean, you look at this, and you have Carter Ferris, Anthony Petrino, Parker Pico on the other side. This is going to be some fireworks over there at Stony Creek.
Yeah, and that's the game where oh man, I wish this was televised. That's the one you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going on and on. I'm like, yep, you're absolutely right. Everything you said, yes. And you're like, well, who do you pick?
Who do you pick?
You got the upstart.
The upstart versus the established.
Yes. Too close to call. I'm still trying to formulate who I'm going to pick on that one.
You can wait on that one.
Well, geez, I don't want to wait, but I'm going to go upset.
You got the upset.
Yeah.
You got Stony.
Yes. Close.
You got armor. You got team armor up.
Yes. I'm taking them.
You know what? Armor up, baby.
Really?
Armor up, baby. I'm going to pick the upset.
We don't usually pick the upset at the same time. I've been wrong all the time, but
I got armor up this week, pulling off the upset.
I don't know, man. There's something about that Stony Creek team.
Stony Creek battled tough against Oak Park. Should have won the Seahawks game. Should have won the Groves game. I mean, I'm telling you, I like where Nick Merlo has that program going. I like where he's got that team going.
They're playing the quality opponents, strong, and
they're blowing out the weaker foes.
Yes, they're not close games, and that's the sign of a team ready to bust out.
Mm-hmm. And they're ready to bust out. If Stony Creek were to lose to Adams, I think they're going to still get in at 5-4.
If there was a team to pick that would get in with 5 wins, I'd take
Stony Creek.
Yeah.
I would take them.
I mean, you go back a year ago, I'm looking at Lake Orion in at 5 wins, correct?
Yeah, they were. They were the first team in at 5-4.
Yeah, and how could you not take Stony?
I would take Stony Creek. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, I would.
Yeah.
And then of course we have the talk Clarkston, Detroit, Cass Tech.
That was a surprise one. You
4-4
kind of picked
versus
it.
3-5.
You picked that. We were talking off the air after last week's pod, and you mentioned it. You said,
Yeah,
"Hey, they're available," and boom, they picked them.
I wrote a column on it on the
did
blog
you?
at Inside the OA at Sammy@blogspot.com.
Read the blog.
Yep, read the blog there.
And what does Clarkston have? I mean, they're going to be playing the young kids just to get them game experience, or are they going to go out there and throw everything at them? I mean,
we don't know where the mindset of this football team's at,
no.
especially what happened to them last week, against Lake Orion.
Try to redeem, throw the kitchen sink at CT and see what happens.
I mean, you look at Detroit Cass Tech, also, they've had a disappointing season as well. They're 4-4, but they still have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at this game, yes, there's a lot of history on both sides. Yes, there's a lot of state championships on both sides.
But these aren't the traditional.
But these aren't your traditional.
No.
I mean, so when you look at Clarkston, how is their mindset is? How is where are their heads at after what happened?
Yeah.
That's the question we don't know. I mean, things have gone so far south for this team this season, that Clarkson might say, you know what? You go and get our butts. We could get our butts handed to you, or they could just go up and fight in front of your community.
Yeah.
And basically come out and pull out the upset.
Yes.
Detroit Cast Tech has not fared well north of M59. They have not fared well.
And knowing the program at Clarkson and watching it over the years, and
there's a lot of pride at Clarkson.
Absolutely. I mean, they're not going to roll over and just go, whatever.
They better not roll over against them. I mean, like.
No, they have what they have, and I've heard some other. I mean, people might not know this, but the injury situation they have over there is unbelievable.
4 players out with an ACL injury, and then he had Darius McKinney is out, who could be out for this game with a hip injury.
Yeah, I mean
he
a
was
lot
out,
of knee injuries. It's just
a lot of ACL injuries.
Yeah,
Matt Miller's
crazy.
out for the year. You look at Hayden Temple, he's out for the year. I mean,
and those are the name players that we know that are out. There's others with the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we know this isn't the same team.
No.
But we know it's the same program.
It's the same program.
Right? So they're going to throw it at them.
There's still some players on that team. You look at Rocco Spindler,
Yes.
Garrett Dillinger, Cole Dillinger, Ben Haas. I mean, like, up front, those are very good linemen. But when you look at the problem that Clarkson faces is their linebackers and secondary.
Yeah.
That's the big problem. Detroit Cast Tech's got a ton of athletes. They sit at 4-4 right now. Do you think when you look at this game on paper, do you think Clarkson can beat Detroit Cast Tech?
On paper, no. But I'm going to say they'll bounce back.
You think they get
Let's
them?
shock them. Why not? Why not?
If they do, Detroit Cast Tech's out of the playoffs for an 11th straight year. After 11 years.
Oh, 11-year run.
11-year run. Clarkson had their 16-year playoff run snapped.
I want to say, my gut tells me don't pick the Wolves, but I'm going to pick them. Because they're going to play for pride and see what, they're going to come out and try to finish on a positive note.
Kurt Richardson's teams have always had pride.
Yes.
Always.
Why add another game if you were going to fold the tent?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They added a game, so let's do another one. Let's take it to them.
Let's do another one. Let's play. Let's take it to them.
Absolutely.
Let's go in there and let's dominate.
Yeah.
This has been a crazy year.
It was Twilight Zone. We've said it 1,000 times.
It's been a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
A lot of others going around as well. Of course, soccer.
Yeah. Well, let's get to other sports because we're up against the clock right now.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, I got something. I got
cross country
on the OA Red side. Yep. Dominant Clarkston men's team. Congrats to the Wolves taking the
Troy Athens boys soccer district champions.
Very good.
Adams district champions in soccer as well.
Okay, great. The Troy women on the OA Red side, fantastic finish. They take the title. I think they swept the Jamborees this year.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go. They're gearing up for the state finals and regionals coming up.
I think Ferndale volleyball, Bloomfield Hills volleyball, and Clarkson volleyball league champions this year.
Okay.
So,
looking at Clarkston men.
Yeah. One of the state favorites?
I would say they're at least in the top 5.
What about Troy and the girls?
Troy and the girls, I don't see it because of the times. If they have a very strong showing at regionals, I might change my tune. And regionals is this coming weekend.
So it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, see how the OA teams. And plus, we got to look outside the regions changed.
Yep.
Clarkston women were state champions a year ago. I don't see
got a tough
that's
regional.
not happening.
They got a tough regional.
They're thrown into a buzzsaw of a regional. Yeah.
Yeah. They got a lot of tough regionals looming.
Absolutely.
Yep. Special shout out, congratulations to all the teams this week at the
way to
tennis
go.
Tournaments and the golf tournaments as
See if
well.
we can get some state titles out of these OA teams.
Yep, we'll see what happens. Miss Sammy Timmy here. Keep an eye on the keep an eye on the football playoff projections heading into Week 9. I will post a blog article about my projected playoff matchups heading into the Week 9 on Inside the OA and the Sammy High School Sports blog as well as SD46 at blogspot.com. We'll see what happens going forward. Take care, everybody. See you all next week.
See you, Sam. Oaa Now is produced by Sammy Terramina. The views on this show are his and his alone. Give Owen TV a call if you would like to make your own podcast, 248-393-1060. We'll see you next week on Oaa Now. See ya.